every now and then, one of these tobacco companies decide to try to do a different rendition of one of their popular blends. A little while ago, Seattle Pipe Club decided to put out a couple different versions of it's my favorite blend, plum pudding. And they added bourbon, and they did a special reserve, and perhaps that could be reserved for maybe another time. But today, this is going to be a conversation about Haunted Bookshop as a cake. I thought, you know what? I think I got some Haunted Bookshop somewhere. Why not do a side-by-side comparison? Is it a gimmick? Is it trying to make a once bestseller into a present bestseller? Trying to make it relevant again? What is this doing? Is it warranting everything? Does it warrant the price? Does it warrant the effort? Is this something that's going to be added to my rotation? Is it going to be so different and so novel that it warrants owning both of them? Well, I think it's worth finding out. Not to be too presumptuous and not to be too critical, but we'll load up a bowl of normal Haunted Bookshop. I know that this is a beloved blend to many people, many lovers of Burley, and I don't know if I like it that much. I think it's pretty good, but even that maybe could be saved for another day. I mean, I don't prefer to do reviews out of the jar because, I open the tin and I put it in the jar and it sits in the jar for how long? I mean, this tin of Haunted Bookshop, I don't know how long I've had it for, so who knows if it's even a fair review, but we'll give it a chance. Haunted Bookshop is typically a rather bitter sort of blend. Burley is a more traditional flavored tobacco. Whenever I've smoked Burley, it always makes me think of Lucky Strikes. There is a no-nonsense, no-fluff quality about Haunted Bookshop. I could see it being an everyday blend for some. I can see it being the go-to standard for tobacco. It's not complex by any means, but not that there isn't something there to be sifted through in flavor profile. It's got a very sort of murky hay flavor to it, but nothing close to Virginia. Very woody. That is the thing about Burley that I like, is it doesn't bite. You don't have to be too temperamental with it. There's some other leaf in here. There's some Perique and maybe a little bit of Virginia. Yeah, a little bit of Virginia. It's good. Yeah, no problem with it. I think if I were to rate Haunted Bookshop, and already including all the things that I said, like this could be a couple years old, so maybe a little bit more developed of a blend, and the harshness has kind of been taken off the edge of it because it's been sitting for a while. Can't fairly grade it when it comes to humidity. I know price is good, and the style of tobacco, being burly, never really giving a bite to it, and being pretty smokable all the way around, I would give it a 7-8. It's pretty good. It's I can't give it an 8. It's not there yet for me. It's not, outstanding. I feel like the 8 range for me are tobaccos that are outstanding. It's not outstanding. It's good. It's good. So we're gonna crack this one, and we're gonna see if there is a real big difference. Does it justify itself? I mean, with something like this, I have no real bias. With other blends like the Palmetto Balkan, I had a bias. I love Balkans. I'm very critical of them. Same with aromatics. I'm predisposed not to like them, so that's a bias. But with something like a blend like this, I don't have a bias one way or the other. So maybe it might be a more objective sort of review. So it just comes in a cube, as expected. And you can just break a chunk off with your fingers and rub it out. So it feels very wet. I don't incorporate that into the grade too much, just because there's going to be variations to that. So my grade with humidity and preparation of tobacco, I mean, unless it's across all standards, all states, I hear everyone say that Samuel Gawith is wet, then I know that that's the MO. But, I'm not going to, just because this one happens to be particularly wet, I mean, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty wet. It kind of clumps. But who knows? Let's give it a fair shot. I love good tobacco. If it is a fantastic tobacco, maybe putting it in cake form is just what sets it over the edge. How could I know without trying? And that's what I'm doing for you, good people. I'm trying it for you. We'll see. I'll find out for you. Don't spend your money yet. I spent the money. I'll take the fall if it's terrible. Even just off of the false light, I can verify to you right now it is the same thing. I don't mean like it's the same thing flat. I just mean I'm not smoking an entirely different blend. My initial impression, I'm going to give it a few more puffs, but my initial impression is that it is better. The normal one, I don't know why, but it doesn't present to me, in my flavor profile, it doesn't present to me too much nuance. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's what I expect Haunted Bookshop to be. And this one has just a bit more sort of dimension to it. I mean, that makes sense to me. You know, when it's being pressed now together, you know, it's forcing something that it didn't have before. Why they didn't start it this way, in my opinion, is a bit interesting. Yeah, I feel like each component. The burley is acts as a cradle, I guess, for the other ones, the other varietals of leaf. There's a nice strong base of earthiness, and then in the middle is that bright sort of hay from the Virginias, and then at the very top you've got this sort of datey, raisiny, you know, typical of Perique. But see, that's not what I get when I smoke normal Haunted Bookshop. It's not. You know what I like though is that it's balanced. It's very balanced. A lot of different blends that I smoke with Perique. Burley, Perique, Virginias. Of course, there's all different kinds of all of those, but just with the basic knowledge of what's in this, you got to have the right proportions. You got to have the right crop. I mean, yeah, it's just tastier to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm comparing apples and oranges, but I mean, if you were to ask me right now, would I buy a tin of Haunted Bookshop normal or the cake? I think you would be crazy not to get the cake. It felt wet, but as I'm smoking it, I mean, I'm sure you can see, but it's not the most temperate. It's kind of falling in between going out and staying lit, so I keep relighting it. But the interesting thing is with a tobacco like this, where I think it's noticeably different, noticeably better, than that processing time, you know, of opening it, tearing a chunk off, you know, rubbing it out and having, you know, essentially the same thing as just normal Haunted Bookshop. That seems to me to extract out of this combination of tobacco a more fuller flavor, a more rewarding flavor. I mean, yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there to grab from. There's these dark, earthy tones, like the bitter end of coffee. And then the Virginias add to just contrast that bitterness with something a little bit more pleasing, sweet. But here's the question for me, right? Humidity, not perfect. Presentation, I like crumble cakes. The tin, you know, they put effort into it. It's got a label. Very Halloween sort of inspired to me, though. Style of tobacco, I have no real bias against. I like Burley. I like the way that they put it together in a crumble cake and not in you know, slices or coins. Availability, I think it's limited. I think it's limited. It could be limited. It keeps going out. So, all of those things put together, I'm going to give it a rating of a 7.9. It's better, noticeably, than normal Haunted Bookshop, but I cannot say that it is so much better that it's not only in my 8 range, but that it warrants me now getting it on a regular basis. The problem that I'm having with it is, in my flavor, in my preferences, why is it noticeably better, and yet somehow this wasn't the original idea for it? Like, why wouldn't you originally put it in a cake? If you're marrying the flavors and the nuance of it comes and is a little richer, then is it a matter of money? Is it a matter of processing time? I believe this tin was $11.99 instead of $9.99, like many basic Cornell and Deal tins. So I don't know what is, like, I don't know what's there. I don't know what's to be gained. Is it because of the extra processing of you know, putting it in the cake form? Is that why it's a little bit more? If that's the case, you know, why are some of the normal Cornell and Deal blends that are in a cake not more? I don't know. Interesting questions, but that's my final analysis on it. Haunted Bookshop, I believe I said the normal one was a 7.8, and this one is a 7.9. It is better. I mean, that's why it's 1 decimal more. But like I said, better to warrant it, better for the extra dollars. It's not that amazing where I ignore those sorts of questions. Immediately upon tasting it, I think, why was this not the standard before then? Why are you giving me a blend that, if it's the same components, then the way that it was offered, the method in which it's offered to us, is just offers a better flavor or a better taste? Yeah, that's a little strange to me. But in any case, encourage you to try it out for yourself. Let me know what you guys think. One quick order of business. Jason Patton and Sean Pugney, you guys won the giveaway. I'm going to leave my email in the description below. Please feel free to email me so that I can send you guys that free jar of the Palmetto Balkan. If you don't get back to me and you don't email me within the next few days, I'm going to just find some random people and give it to them, because I don't want it. And yeah, so make sure to get a hold of me. That's it for this review. I mean, I'm a little dumbfounded on it, honestly. But hopefully I'm dumbfounded so that you don't have to be. All right, guys, keep smoking.